I never thought I'd be writing something like this. But my life has taken a turn I didn't see coming. I'm 38, and about 7 years ago, I met him at a work event. He was older, in his 50s, confident, successful, the kind of man who stands out in a room. He was married, 2 sons. At the time, they were just kids. And me? I was single, no children, just focused on my life. We didn't start as anything serious, just conversations, then friendship. But over time, something shifted. We got closer, way closer than we should have. And eventually, we crossed the line. I remember the first time he opened up to me. He said he wasn't really happy, that things at home felt empty. He told me he had been thinking about leaving for a long time, but then he said something that stuck with me. I'll wait until my kids are older. And for some reason, I believed him. I wish I could say things got easier, but that's when everything started to fall apart. I fell for him, hard, and I made a choice to wait. I told myself, one day this would all make sense. 2 years went by like that, and then everything came out. His wife found out about us. It was messy, painful, for everyone. She was completely shattered, and honestly, I understood why, but what surprised me the most, she chose not to tell their sons what really happened. She protected them, even after everything. And out of respect for her, and for the kids, we agreed to keep our relationship quiet for about a year. No public posts, no appearances together, nothing that could hurt them more. Eventually, he introduced me to his sons, and I won't lie, it was hard. For them, I was the reason their family changed. Seeing their dad with someone new, it didn't sit right at first, but over time, things softened. We started to get along. Not perfect, but better. Then about 3 years ago, we took a big step. We bought a house together, started building what felt like a real future. We even talked about getting married. The boys would come over Chasto, spend time with us, and for a while, it really felt like everything was finally settling down, like we made it through the hardest part. But I was wrong. For a while, it really felt like we were finally okay, like we made it through the storm. Or at least, that's what I thought. Because the truth is, things weren't as settled as they seemed. His ex-wife was struggling, a lot more than anyone expected. She had been a stay-at-home mom for years, working only part-time. And after everything happened, her whole world changed overnight. I later found out she was dealing with health issues too. She'd gained weight, and emotionally, she wasn't doing well. She became isolated, depressed, and that first year after the breakup was the hardest. She kept reaching out to him, calling, sending long messages, sometimes late at night, just asking him to come back, to give their family another chance. It was painful to watch, even from a distance. And yes, he felt guilty. Of course he did, but he kept his distance. He didn't engage in emotional conversations. He only spoke to her when it was about the divorce, or the kids. Nothing more. At least, that's what I believed. He always told me the same thing, that he made his choice, that he loved me. And yes, he regretted the pain it caused, to her, to his kids. But in his words, what's done is done. All we can do now is move forward. And for a while, I believed that too. Then one day, she just stopped. No more calls, no more long messages, no late-night texts, nothing. At first, it felt strange, but then she sent one final message. She asked to keep all communication about the kids strictly through a co-parenting app. No personal razgovory, just logistics. And after that, she disappeared from his life completely. He didn't see her anymore. Their older son was old enough to drive, so there was no need for direct contact. And if he ever had to stop by the house to pick up the younger one, she wasn't there. Not once. It was like she erased herself. And honestly, it felt like a huge relief. Like everything had finally settled. no drama, no tension. Just peace. But something about it didn't feel right. Then, something unexpected happened. She didn't fall apart. She rebuilt herself. Little by little, we started hearing things, mostly from his older son. He told us she began seeing a therapist, got into meditation, yoga, started taking care of herself again. She was going out more, traveling, trying new things, and eventually, she went back to work full-time in her field. He said she looked happy, genuinely happy. And I remember thinking, maybe this is how it's supposed to be. Maybe everyone finally moved on. But then, about a year ago, something strange came up. His younger son casually mentioned someone. Uncle D. At first, it didn't seem like a big deal. But here's the thing. Uncle D wasn't just anyone. He used to be one of my partner's closest friends. Like, really close. And when everything came out, he cut him off completely. No calls, no contact, nothing. My partner told him everything right after the situation was exposed, and that was the end of their friendship. Or at least, that's what we thought. He was furious when it all happened. When the truth came out, his friend cut him off completely. No conversations, no second chances, just gone. And for years, that was it. They never spoke again, until suddenly, everything connected. We found out that Uncle D wasn't just in the picture. He was with her, not casually. They were in a serious relationship. And around that same time, I found out I was pregnant. I thought it would bring us closer, but instead, something shifted. He started acting different. At first, I told myself it was just stress. He had just changed jobs. A lot was happening at once. But then it got worse. He started coming home late, sometimes drunk. He was always on his phone, texting, scrolling, hiding the screen. It didn't feel like him. Not at all. And deep down, I knew something wasn't right. About 6 months ago, I got a call I'll never forget. It was him, from a police station. He asked me to come pick him up, and when I got there, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. He had shown up at his ex-wife's house, drunk, and things got out of control. He ran into his former best friend, and a fight broke out. He was shouting things that didn't even make sense, accusing them, blaming them, like something inside him just snapped. I stood there thinking, this isn't the man I know. He's always been calm, collected, never aggressive. But in that moment, it felt like I was looking at a completely different person. And it didn't stop there. After that night, he became obsessed, constantly checking their social media, even after being blocked, asking the kids questions, trying to find out what they were doing, where they were. It was like he couldn't let go, at all. Eventually, he agreed to get help. He started seeing a therapist, and he's still going. But I don't know if that's enough, because now I'm sitting here, pregnant, watching the man I thought I knew turn into someone I don't recognize, and I honestly don't know what to do anymore. Would you stay or walk away? It's been 6 months since that night, and now we have a baby boy, just a few months old. I really thought that would change everything, that we'd finally settle down and move forward. But if I'm being honest, nothing feels stable. Not really. Something is still off. And the hardest part is, I don't think his heart is fully here anymore. Not with me, not with us. Lately, I've been thinking about leaving, and even saying that out loud feels unreal, because I love him. And now, there's a child in the middle of all this. I wanted a family. I thought that's what we were building. And I know, none of this started in a simple way. I know how much pain was caused, to her, to the kids. But we came so far. We built a life. So, how did we end up here, watching everything slowly fall apart because he can't seem to let go of the past? I keep asking myself, is this guilt, regret, jealousy, or something deeper that I don't understand yet? All I know is I'm standing at a crossroads. Stay and hope he finds his way back, or leave and protect myself and my son? What would you do? I don't even know what to ask him anymore. I keep going in circles in my head, trying to understand what's real and what isn't. Has anyone ever gone through something like this? Because right now, I feel completely lost. Is there even hope for us? I love this man. I really do. But for the first time, I'm starting to doubt everything. And I hate that feeling. Because now it's not just about me. There's a child in the middle of all this. I wanted us to be a family, a real one. But instead, I feel like I'm watching him slowly drift away. Some people told me his behavior makes no sense. Others said it's guilt, or regret, or jealousy. Maybe it's all of it combined. I asked myself one question over and over. What am I supposed to do now? He started therapy. And yes, maybe he's more honest now. With me. With himself. But if I'm being real, it hasn't changed much. And that's what scares me the most. So tell me honestly, would you stay in this situation? Or would you walk away? I don't even know what to ask him anymore. Every time I try, it just turns into the same Razgovori. No real answers, just more confusion. I keep asking myself, is this something we can fix? Or am I just holding on to something that's already falling apart? Because now, it's not just about me anymore. We have a baby, and that changes everything. I wanted us to be a family, a real one. But lately, it feels like I'm the only one still trying. He says he's working on himself. He goes to therapy. He talks more openly now, about his feelings. But his actions, they don't really match. And that's what scares me. Because sometimes, it feels like a part of him is still stuck in the past. Like he hasn't really let go. And I don't know how long I can keep living like this. But then, something happened that made me question everything even more. He's been opening up more lately, talking about how he feels. But somehow, that only made things worse. Because I can feel it. Something in him has shifted. I can't even explain it properly. It's like he's constantly lost in his own thoughts. Like he's replaying every decision that brought us here, and no matter how hard he tries, he can't accept where he ended up. I don't even know if that makes sense, but I feel it every single day. And the truth is, I don't want to leave. Not now. I just had a baby. My hormones are all over the place. I need support. I need him. But instead, it feels like I'm living next to a stranger. And that thought terrifies me, because never in my life did I think it would end up like this. After everything we went through, after the divorce, after all the chaos, I really believed our future was finally clear, bright, stable. But now, I just don't understand anything anymore. I really don't. And when I shared this, someone told me something that stuck with me. Something similar happened to me. He started drinking too, and little by little, he stopped being present, not really there. The man I knew, the one who was kind and full of life, slowly disappeared, and in his place was someone I didn't recognize anymore. Distant, cold, sometimes even cruel. I tried everything to fix us, I really did. But the truth was, he didn't want to fix anything. And after 3 years, he left. He went back to his ex-wife. And what hurt the most was this. Just 6 months before that, he was saying the worst things about her. But then, he started spending more and more time with his son. And with her. And I didn't even realize what was really happening. He was jealous, even at the idea that she might move on. And only after he left, I finally saw it clearly. It wasn't just the drinking. He had been manipulative for a long time. There was a pattern, a cycle. But back then, I kept blaming myself. I thought I was the problem. I wasn't. And then, more people started sharing their stories. And honestly, some of them were hard to hear. One person wrote, "He's still trying to mess with my head. He's not even loyal to her. But somehow, he made sure he stayed in her life. I really hope your story ends differently than mine." That line stayed with me. Because what if it doesn't? Another person said, maybe having a baby changed something in him. Maybe it triggered something he can't handle. And the more I read, the more I started noticing something strange, a pattern. Different people, but similar stories. Men who seemed loving, stable, until something shifted. And then suddenly, they became someone else, distant, confused, stuck in the past. And now I can't stop thinking, is that what's happening to me too? Or am I just overthinking everything? Because I'm scared of the truth. Because the more I look at him now, the more I start to notice things I didn't see before. There's a lot more to this story. Too much to even explain in one go. But one moment keeps replaying in my head. One night, he came home drunk, and he said something I can't forget. He looked at me and said, "He's living the life I was supposed to have." And I'm the one who got stuck. At first, I didn't even understand what he meant. But then it hit me. He was talking about his ex-wife and his former best friend. Turns out, they bought a sailboat, and they're planning to travel for a year once everything settles, once their youngest goes off to college. And suddenly, everything made sense. He wasn't just upset, he wasn't just confused. He was comparing his life to theirs. And, in his head, they were living his dream, while he felt stuck. Stuck with a new baby, a different life, a different future. And hearing that broke something inside me. Because for me, this wasn't being stuck. This was our life, our family, our child. And I realized something I didn't want to admit before. Maybe he doesn't see it the same way I do. Maybe he never did. And now I'm left wondering, how do you build a future with someone who's still mourning the life they didn't choose? Some of the responses were blunt, really blunt. One person wrote, "He needs to accept the consequences of his choices. His ex moved on. He should do the same." And I get it. I really do. But knowing that doesn't make this any easier. Because I keep asking myself, what am I supposed to do? How do I help someone who seems stuck in his own head? Is there something I'm missing? Should we try couples therapy? Would that even help? If part of him is still somewhere else? Or am I just trying to fix something that I don't have control over? Because the only option people keep bringing up is walking away. And I'm not ready for that. Not yet. Then someone asked me a simple question. How long have you actually been together? And I don't know why, but that question hit me harder than I expected, because it made me realize just how much has happened in such a short time. Someone asked me how long we've actually been together, and the answer surprised even me. Officially, just about 3 months, and yet it feels like we've lived through years. At the time, everything was chaos. The breakup, the tension, the emotions. It felt like his ex was doing everything she could to make his life harder, and I became his safe place. The calm in the middle of all that noise. But now, I keep wondering something I didn't think about before. What happens when everything settles down? When the anger fades? When life becomes normal again? Will he still feel the same about me? Or was I just part of the storm? And the hardest part is, I actually asked him about this once. Back when everything was just starting. I wanted to be sure. I asked him directly, if she moves on, will you be okay with that? Can you really imagine her being with someone else? and not feeling anything? And his answer felt so certain, so calm. He said, "I just want her to be happy." And back then, I believed him. But now, I'm not so sure anymore. One response really made me stop and think. Life can surprise you in ways you never expect. And honestly, that might be the most accurate thing I've heard so far. They suggested therapy, together, individually, and I'm considering it. I really am. But then I realized something I can't ignore anymore. We've actually been together for about 4 years. 4 years. And somehow, I still feel like I'm discovering things I should have known a long time ago. He told me he had fallen out of love with her, that they had grown apart, that what they had was more like friendship, respect, history, but not love. And I believed that. I believed he had moved on. I knew he cared about her, as the mother of his children, but never did I think it ran deeper than that. Until now, because seeing his reaction, seeing how much it affects him that she found someone else, it makes me question everything. Was he ever really over her? Or was I just the part of the story that came in between? The truth is, I was actually happy for her. I really was. I thought he would be too. But when everything came out, his reaction told a completely different story. So I asked him directly, "What exactly about this is bothering you?" And his answer, it stayed with me. He said he had imagined this happening one day, but in his mind, it was always far away, not real, not now. And then he said something else, something that made everything even heavier. He believes his former best friend had feelings for her all along, that he was just waiting for the moment she became available. And now, he feels betrayed, not just by her, but by him too. And I know how this sounds. I do, especially considering how our relationship started. But that's where we are. Because the reality is, he didn't just react badly. He reacted in a way I've never seen before. And now I'm left trying to understand, is this really about betrayal? Or is it something else? Something he hasn't been honest about even with himself? One comment hit me differently. Not emotional, just painfully logical. They said it wasn't as dramatic in their case, but it still changed everything. They described that same feeling, seeing someone you love in a completely different light. And honestly, that's exactly how I feel right now. Because the more I think about it, the more something starts to bother me. He couldn't even fake being happy for her, not even a little. And that realization, it's unsettling. Because what does that say about him? The more I sit with it, the more I start to see a side of him I didn't want to notice before, a more selfish side. And then they asked something that I haven't been able to get out of my head. Did his other friends distance themselves too? Could this be a delayed reaction to everything he lost? Is he now looking back, comparing what he had to what he has now, and realizing he doesn't like the outcome? And the truth is, I don't know. I don't know if this is grief, regret, or something deeper. But what I do know is this. I'm starting to see him not as the man I fell in love with, but as the person he really is. And that might be the scariest part of all. Then I read something that made everything click. Someone wrote, "Raising kids is exhausting, especially when you're truly involved. Most people his age don't want to start over from scratch." And then came the part that really stayed with me. Maybe it's not about who she's with, but the life they're about to live. And suddenly, it all made sense. It's not just her. It's not just the friend. It's the freedom, the future they're planning. The life he thought he'd have, and now he's watching someone else live it, while he feels stuck in a completely different reality. And maybe that's what's breaking him. Then I read another comment. So, I'm not the only one with a jealous, selfish partner. And that hit me too, because it made me realize this isn't as rare as I thought. And the more details I looked at, the clearer the picture became. His former friend wasn't just some random person. They were all in the same circle. They'd known each other for years, since college, and his ex-wife, she didn't go around telling everyone what happened. She kept it quiet, for the kids, and somehow, that makes everything even heavier. Because now I'm starting to see the full picture, and I don't know if I like what it shows. Over time, more of their friends found out the truth, and things were never the same after that. We weren't completely pushed out, but if there was ever a choice, invite us, or invite her, they chose her. Every time. It hurt him. I could see it, even if he didn't talk about it much. Eventually, we found new friends, built a new circle. But now, looking back, I'm starting to understand something I didn't want to see before. What you said earlier, it really stayed with me. And the more I think about it, the more it feels true. Maybe. He didn't fall in love with me. Maybe he fell in love with what I represented. And it hurts to even say that out loud. Because back then, I was something different in his life. I was excitement, adventure, something new. And now, I'm just part of his reality. And maybe that's not what he really wanted. And now, I'm just a mom, tired, sleep-deprived, trying to hold everything together. And the more I think about it, the more I start to see it clearly. He's already lived this life once. The routine, waking up early, working, providing for a family. And now, he's right back in it. While she moved on. She found someone new, and now they're planning a completely different life. A sailboat, a year of traveling, freedom, and he's here, looking at all of that, from the outside. And I think that's what's really breaking him. Not just her, not just the past, but the life he feels he lost. And I can't believe I'm even saying this. But I've known all of this for months. I just didn't want to see it. Until now. And maybe this is the answer I've been avoiding all along. The truth is, he wanted this. He chose this life. We talked about it, planned it. And now, he's right back at the beginning. While she's free, with someone who has no children, and they're about to live the kind of life he once imagined for himself. And then I read something that explained everything in a way I couldn't ignore anymore. People can understand their choices, but they don't truly feel them until they experience the other side. And that hit me hard, because that's exactly what this feels like. In his mind, it's like he's the one who was betrayed. Like somehow, she moved on and came out ahead, and he's the one left behind. And I know how unfair that sounds, considering how everything started between us. But that doesn't change what he feels. And maybe the hardest truth is this. He never fully understood why he left his marriage in the first place. And now, he's living with the consequences he wasn't ready to face. We had talked about having a child, but never seriously. It was more like, maybe someday. The pregnancy wasn't planned, but when I found out, I was happy. And for a while, he was too. Until something changed. It wasn't gradual. It felt like a switch flipped. And suddenly, he wasn't the same person anymore. And now, I think I'm finally starting to understand why. He has things inside him he never dealt with. Things that were already there, long before me. And maybe, if he had faced them back then, we wouldn't even be here now. That's a hard thing to admit. Then someone said something that I couldn't ignore. Do his kids know what really happened? If not, I have a lot of respect for his ex. And then, the part that really stuck with me. Right now, he's acting like a jealous child. And as much as I didn't want to hear that, I can't say it's wrong. Because the more I look at everything, the more it feels like I'm not dealing with a partner anymore, but with someone who still hasn't grown past his past. Some of the comments weren't soft anymore. They were direct, almost harsh. One person wrote, "He lost his friends, and now he can't accept that his ex moved on." What did he expect? People move forward. Another question came up. Is his former friend more successful? Could that be adding to the jealousy? And the more I read, the harder it became to ignore, because then someone said something that hit too close to home. Now that you have a child, he's realizing what that really means. The responsibility, the routine, the years of work ahead. And at the same time, he's watching his ex walk into freedom. And suddenly, it all connected again. He's not just upset, he's comparing two lives, the one he has and the one he thinks he lost. And I don't know what hurts more, realizing that, or understanding that there's nothing I can do to change it. At this point, I don't think it's about money. We're doing fine. He's doing fine. That's not the issue. The real problem is something else. He can't accept that he's no longer important in her life, that she moved on, completely. And in his mind, it's not just that she found someone new. It's that someone else stepped into a life he believes he built, a home, a family, a future. And now, he feels like he was replaced, like he was pushed out of his own story. Why he left his marriage in the first place. And now, he's living with the consequences he wasn't ready to face. We had talked about having a child, but never seriously. It was more like, maybe someday. The pregnancy wasn't planned, but when I found out, I was happy. And for a while, he was too. Until something changed. It wasn't gradual. It felt like a switch flipped. And suddenly, he wasn't the same person anymore. And now, I think I'm finally starting to understand why. He has things inside him he never dealt with. Things that were already there, long before me. And maybe, if he had faced them back then, we wouldn't even be here now. That's a hard thing to admit. Then someone said something that I couldn't ignore. Do his kids know what really happened? If not, I have a lot of respect for his ex. And then, the part that really stuck with me. Right now, he's acting like a jealous child. And as much as I didn't want to hear that, I can't say it's wrong. Because the more I look at everything, the more it feels like I'm not dealing with a partner anymore, but with someone who still hasn't grown past his past. Some of the comments weren't soft anymore. They were direct, almost harsh. One person wrote, "He lost his friends, and now he can't accept that his ex moved on." What did he expect? People move forward. Another question came up. Is his former friend more successful? Could that be adding to the jealousy? And the more I read, the harder it became to ignore, because then someone said something that hit too close to home. Now that you have a child, he's realizing what that really means. The responsibility, the routine, the years of work ahead. And at the same time, he's watching his ex walk into freedom. And suddenly, it all connected again. He's not just upset, he's comparing two lives, the one he has and the one he thinks he lost. This is the end of the first part. Do you want to see the continuation? Stay tuned and subscribe. To be continued.